Good morning.
All right. Good Friday morning and welcome to the Friday morning safety meeting. My name is John Harden. I'm in the safety department. I'm joined by Mr. Dave White, who's also in the safety department. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. It's a nice day outside. I got some sunshine.
Beautiful day. And you know what today is, John?
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. That's right. May 5th, 2023. We're already that far into the year, man.
I know.
It's cooking, man. We're rolling right through the months.
I was looking at the date to make sure you weren't going to make a May the 4th be with you joke. So I appreciate you not doing that.
I know you. I heard that yesterday from you.
All day long. So welcome again. Hope you're enjoying your free breakfast here. Let's give John and the folks over here a round of applause for feeding us here in all the terminals. So kind of a lighter crowd here in Springfield today, which means we've probably got some folks out there working on the road, which is a good thing. So let's get started. Let's go out east first this morning and let's welcome our Pittston terminal out there. Rick, are you out there?
Hey, good morning. Ooh, that's a little loud, isn't it? Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing down there? Ooh.
We're doing great. How are you guys?
Good. You know, hey, we got a great class this week and a bunch of guys that were in for upgrades. So yeah, we're doing good. We're getting guys in trucks.
Seeing some shorts on you this morning, Rick, and a t-shirt. Must be pretty nice out there.
Well, nice or not, I'm thinking summer. So
that's right. It's a good attitude to have. We're ready for it.
Yeah, we are.
What's going on in Pittston this week?
It's nice out there now, but we're gonna have a nice weekend. It's gonna be an awesome weekend. So as far as weather, I'm trying to move around here. I'm getting a lot of feedback here.
Keep moving around up there. So what have you got going on up there in Pittston this week?
Well, like I said earlier, we had a great class, and we got a bunch of guys down at PAD for upgrades. So yeah, we're getting guys in trucks and get them out there and pick up freight.
All right, good deal. Well, I see you've got a couple of yellow vests sitting back there over your shoulder. So I'm going to welcome them to the Prime family, and we'll do that properly here in just a second. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, please get the microphone in front of somebody and feel free to jump in at any time.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, well, let's go out west. We've got Mr. Aaron Ward out in Salt Lake City. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
Good morning. You get the crowd noise going there. I like that.
That's right. Yeah, we've got a good crowd here this morning. Had several people come in, new PSD students. We've got some good upgrades here this week, putting people in trucks just like Pennsylvania. Weather's much better out here. We hit 80s a couple of times this week. We're getting a little bit of runoff from the snow up in the mountains after the record snow we had this winter, causing some flooding, things like that. Nothing that's affect our drivers, though.
Yeah, I saw where the Salt Lake actually went up a few feet, they said. I read an article on that earlier in the week. So that's probably some well-deserved rain you guys need, and water and snow and all that. So that's good to hear.
That's correct. Yeah, the Salt Lake's up about 4 feet as of right now, which is exactly what we needed.
Good deal. I see you're wearing red. Did Sing B let you have a shirt, one of his Cardinals shirt or something there, Aaron?
No, I had to provide this myself. He won't come off those Cardinal shirts.
Those are kind of embarrassing to wear right now, to be honest with you. So they're not doing so well.
That's true. Yeah, don't talk to him about that, though.
All right. Well, same thing. If you guys have any questions or comments, or anybody has anything they want to add to the meeting, please feel free to jump in at any time. So let's come back here to Springfield. So welcome, everybody. Man, asleep.
I think they ate too much breakfast, man. They'd be napping on us out there, John.
They're busy eating. So first and foremost, you know, we've got some yellow vests sitting over here, and I noticed some on the monitor up there at the other terminal. So if this is your first week at Prime, you're new to the Prime family, we would like for you to stand up. Welcome you to the Prime family. We appreciate you being here. Want to make sure that everybody gives you a nice round of applause this morning. So we know a lot went into the decision to come to Prime, and You know, we feel that this is the greatest trucking company in North America, and we know that you made a good decision, and anything that you have here for us as far as questions, comments, concerns, you know, we are completely 100% transparent here. So feel free to ask, you know, get that good relationship going with your fleet manager. When you're in the terminals, you know, come by, introduce yourself to all your associates that you'll be working with, whether it's payroll, road assist, you know, your fleet manager, like I mentioned before. You know, we encourage all of that. Stop by, ask us any questions you have in the safety department. We're located up here in the Z building on the main level, just this side of the Success Leasing program. So, Dave, what do you got this morning?
Man, John, you know, I just want to, you know, kind of piggyback on what you said for all of our new folks and even our current drivers. Thank you for what you do out there, running freight down the road and giving that commitment to our company and making us the best, because that's what this is about. You know, it seems like we're always in competition. You know, we're always want to be the most on time company, picking up, delivering, but also we want to be the safest company as well. So, you know, that being said, safety is number one here. It's our highest calling, and that's what we ask of you. And if you're ever in a situation, the predicament, whatever it may be, get a hold of us. If you want to go over your safety record, I had a couple drivers this past week stop by and say, hey, I'd like to see what my CSA scores are or what my accidents are. Feel free, man. We're not going to bite your heads off. We want to work with you. We want to make you better. And both drivers had zero CSA points, had zero accidents, been with us a couple of years. They're knocking it out of the ballpark, but they're concerned. They want another record, and that's important. And also, too, any motors complaints, things like that, that's called in. Yeah, I mean, you guys need to know everything. We're a very transparent company. You know, you walk around here during the day, you can go to all the buildings. You can go see your fleet manager, sit down with him or her. Go see safety, go see payroll, road assist. We're all open, and you know, that's what we do here, and that's what makes this company a little bit different. Not all companies are like that, and I'm not going to name any names out there, but some of them you can't talk to your fleet manager and sit down with them. You can't even go see safety. You know, there's a wall separating you from them, but not here at Prime. You know, Roberts has built this company from 1970 on, and being transparent, being open. That's what this place is about. So. You know, you got questions, concerns, make sure you voice them and let us hear it. So
Yeah, absolutely. You know, always keep in mind, you know, you kind of get the stigma out there on the road that, you know, you get the dispatch versus the driver, dispatch versus sales. And, you know, I just want everybody to know that everybody here is on the same team. So, you know, we're all working together. Nobody's against anybody else, and everybody works with each other to make this work. And that's what's great about this. So just, we're transparent. Come talk to us. Anywhere in the building. So
yeah, John's right on. It's you know, if you succeed out there, we're going to succeed inside, and
absolutely,
and that's with your fleet manager too. You know, it's we get these complaints sometimes. My fleet manager's holding back loads against me and this and that. It doesn't happen. You know, that's not the way it goes. And I'm in safety, and I know that. John used to be a fleet manager for many years, and Dennis, our safety director, was too. No, they want to get you as many loads as possible, get you moving down the road, and make you as profitable as you can be. And that's going to be one of our speakers today. We're going to have Brian Jackson up here in a little bit, talk about ACE2, and he'll cover a lot of the information to make you successful and help you out. And that's what we're about. So
absolutely. So you want to jump into some numbers here real quick this morning?
Yeah, let's look at our inspections this past week. Bill Sprague signed off on them. He actually reviews them. And the way our DOT inspections go, when they come in here, our citations and the inspections department, they collect them all. They come in through them. So Sarah and Brian in that department, they get them all together, and then they get them over to Dennis, and Dennis looks at them, and he goes through every one of them. And if there's a concern or whatever it may be, he may point it out to us. But then one of us safety supervisors, John, myself, or Bill, we'll take them and sign off on them and look at them again to make sure we don't miss anything. Because, you know, inspections, that's where safety hits the road out there when you're dealing with enforcement and all that. And it's extremely important. We love clean inspections, and that's what drives our safety numbers. So this past week, we had 143 DOT inspections. 94 of them were clean, so a 66% clean rate. So good job by our operators. Just give them a big round of applause out there. Paid out, John, $9,700.
Nice, free money again.
It is, yeah. And Robert's gracious enough to give it out, and that's how much those clean inspections mean to us. $100 for independent contractors, $25 for company drivers. So, you know, get those clean inspections, get them turned in. And there's times we'll get teams going cross country, and they may turn in 2 or 3 inspections in 1 week, and that's great. As long as they're clean, make a couple extra $100 and we can all use a couple.
Yeah,
extra
we've got
$100.
everyone's got a great opportunity to maybe make a little bit more coming up. We've got a DOT blitz coming up here this month. So, make sure you got everything in order. Make sure you know where your permit book is, your paper logs, all of that good stuff that goes along with those everyday general inspections. But, specifically, they're going to be focusing on load securement and ABS systems this time around, right?
That is true. Yeah. So flatbedders, make sure, you got your load tied down correctly. Make sure you're doing it the right way. Don't take any shortcuts. It's not worth it. But besides that, just with, anybody else in our fleet, make sure you got your truck ready to go. If you got a broken windshield or a cracked windshield, during this blitz, they're going to pull you in. That's a give me, that's an easy one. Or you got a burnout light, or your headlight burns out 3 days before the blitz. You make sure you get that corrected. Don't say, well, I'll wait till I get to a terminal maybe next week, because you're going to get pulled in. And by then we already got a violation. We got burnout headlight, or we got burnout clearance light, required light. Things like that. So get those taken care of, stay on top of it, do your pre-trips, do your due diligence on pre-trips, and, it'll make you have a lot better outlook and final outcome on an inspection. If you're prepared and your truck's prepared, that's what we need right there. So.
Absolutely. So a couple of things I'm going to just throw in here that Dave doesn't know about, but just wanted to bring these up and talk about them. There's a couple of instances that have been, that have happened here over the past, probably 3 to 4 weeks. But, one, if you ever miss an exit, and this is just, general safety knowledge here. If you ever miss an exit, we never want to do a U-turn to get turned back around to go the direction we need to be heading. Please go to the next off ramp so that you can properly exit the interstate highway, get turned around, come back the direction you want to go. But, making a U-turn is just never really a good decision to make out there on the road. And again, we've had a couple of unfortunate incidents here in the past 2 or 3 weeks that have kind of brought this back to our attention. And just wanted to get it out there to everybody to make sure that that's in the back of your mind. You're thinking about it. So we want to be absolutely 100% safe out there. And that's just not really ever a good decision to make. And then the other one that I wanted to mention, is backing up at stoplights, stop signs, things like that. That usually doesn't work out in our favor either. So, if you get into a situation like that, if you absolutely 100% have to back up, make sure 100% that we're clear behind us, because that's typically what happens. Somebody sneaks in there behind us, and then we put the trailer into the grill of their vehicle, and we're dealing with a little backing accident. So I just wanted to bring those up.
And
Mention those.
sometimes an irate motorist too, because they get afraid. They see a truck backing up, and if they can't back up, next thing you know, the front end of their car is getting crunched, and they don't know. They just get afraid, and so we've had to have those conversations with them. And so, that being said, make sure, just like John says, if you're going to back up, make sure you get out and look. And I know sometimes some of our backing incidents like this are truck stops. You want to give another driver room so they can get in. Maybe you're blocking a little bit of the Love's truck stop or the TA truck stop. So you say, well, I'll back up a little bit, give them more room to get in here. And then there's a four-wheeler right behind you, and you don't see them in the mirror. So, make sure if you're going to do that, put your four-ways on, get out and look before you back up. But I highly advise not doing that. Try to get out of their way first. That just makes it go better, because even you get out and look and you get back in, some four-wheeler could pull right up on you, and then you're right back in the same situation. But, you're spot on though, making U-turns and stuff like that. Don't do that out there on the highway. If you get routed down a wrong path and you get lost and it's not the right road you're on and you don't know what to do, best thing to do is pull over, put on your four-ways and call for help. Get a hold of road assist, get a hold of safety, whatever it may be. We'll probably have you get a hold of the police. Police are much more happier coming out to help you get out of a situation than to do an accident report. When they do an accident report, officers have more work to do, and police officers don't like to do work. They don't like to do those reports, but when they have to, they have to. So that being said, you get in a situation, you get stuck, man. Sometimes you just got to fess up, and you feel embarrassed. And I've been down that road before, and you don't feel, you're like, oh man, I failed on this one. But you know what? You haven't really failed. You have an accident. So they can help you get back out of a situation, or maybe they may have to get a wrecker out there to help you get out. That's okay. we'll take care of that. We'll go over that before we'll have an accident. So just keep that in a reminder in the back of your head. And we're all, some of you are very new out there, this first couple weeks, first few months, maybe first year of trucking. And that's okay. The more experienced veterans out there, you guys probably have this under wraps, but if you don't, that's okay. You get a situation, give us a holler. That's what we want to do. We want to make you safe and keep you out of having an accident, so you don't have to do those reports.
Absolutely. And, for the new folks, we mentioned this probably 3 weeks ago now, but 75% of our, incidents occur at these low speed, low impact, backing into another vehicle, hitting a stationary object or hitting a parked vehicle, which is typically your truck stops, your shippers, receivers, maybe beginning of the day, end of the day. So, again, make sure that we're staying focused 100% of the time until those brakes are set and we're getting out of the truck, ignition's off. So,
and John, you put out a safety message on the Prime app on CERs and roll stabilities. Cover that with us real quick.
I did. So yesterday we updated our weekly safety staple and we, specifically mentioned critical events. And as the weather is getting warmer, we're not as concerned about, our speeds out there with inclement weather and road conditions, although we do have to be worried about rain, that sort of thing, wet road conditions, but the snow's gone, the ice is gone for the most part. So put a message out about critical events. And one that I highlighted was our roll stability event. So out of all of our critical events over the past 6 months, 49.7% of them are roll stability events. So far and away, the most common critical event that we get. And whenever we're counseling with drivers or going through and looking at these, the majority of time we see are just speeds too fast for particularly exit and entry ramps, and then acceleration through turns and intersections, turning into fuel stops, turning into customers. So, those are the most common ones that we see come across to us. So, make sure whenever you're out there taking an exit or entry ramp that you're being very alert, pick up those speed limit signs. We want to be at about half of those posted speed limit signs. If conditions are ideal, if we've got any inclement weather, visibility issues, anything like that, of course, the speed is really dictated by the conditions you're driving in, or safe speed, I should say, would be predicated by the conditions that you're driving in. But I just wanted to bring that up, mention that to you all, make sure that we're slowing down, make sure that we're doing our due diligence to reduce these. And, I don't think that we have anybody holding the microphone back there. And this gentleman has a question right here.
Oh,
So
maybe we can get somebody to grab a micro. There's Stan. He'll get him. But besides that, John, you mentioned slowing down, and this is the environment we're in right now. We know freight's not as plentiful as it was last year at this time, and we're all well aware of that. And this is your time to shine out there, slowing down and get better fuel mileage and go easier on your truck, less maintenance costs, less cost on brakes and tires. And if you could drop down in that 58, 56 mile an hour range, you're going to get better fuel mileage. And I don't mean to be taking anything away from Brian, because he's going to be up here in a little bit talking about that, but that's what he's going to hit on, operating, making more money while, the freight rates may not be where we want them at this point, but we'll get back there, and we'll get back to the freight as well. And it's all cyclical. So let's move it on over here to this gentleman. Go ahead, sir. Jump in.
Yeah, I just had a quick question on that. When it does the stability alert, because I've got a couple, not that I felt I was out of the realm of the speed or anything, but is it just picking up speed, or what does it sense? How does it work?
Well, there's an actual sensor in the truck that detects the roll stability, which triggers the roll stability event. So if the threshold is exceeded, then we get the critical event. And, some of these, and after the meeting, come up to my desk and let's take a look at them so we can look at specifics on yours. But, we do get a lot of phone calls or a lot of conversations where, or maybe a fleet manager sends us a message when they just canceled their driver and says, hey, this driver was only going 15 miles an hour. It's a false event. Can you remove it on a roll stability? And the answer is always going to be no on that, because they are legitimate events and we can usually walk through and show you. And typically those are at intersections, four-way stops, traffic lights, something like that, where we're making a turn, swinging out wide, cutting the wheels and accelerating all at the same time. And that's what triggers those events. And, actually we have an example where we had a rollover at under 16 miles an hour here a few years ago in that exact same scenario right there. So
yeah, the couple I've got have been like back east. Some of those off ramps are super not only are they super banked, but
Right.
they're super tight.
Yes.
And what I have found is if you try to brake in the middle of the corner, because you think, well, maybe I need to just slow down a couple ticks, it'll kick it on. But if you're going to brake, do it before you get in the
Break
corner.
early.
Yeah, and that's what it is, to keep out of a roll stability, brake before you get into that turn, and you won't have that issue. And also, you got to remember too, what's inside your trailer. You know, if you got a high center of gravity load in there, that's going to affect that roll stability. Hey, Dennis, I had one gentleman right back there. I think Frank needed the mic, but he had his arm up.
Go ahead, Chad.
But yeah, oh, Chad,
Sorry, Dave.
didn't
Good
see you, man.
morning.
No, go ahead.
Dave's ignoring you.
Two questions. The first one is it possible that the sensors aren't calibrated, where they're calibrated too sensitive? Because some of those stability things, in my opinion, seem to be not telling the truth.
You know, we had that question come up, and I'm glad you asked that. And actually, I'm even more glad that I did a little bit of research a couple of days ago. So I went through and I pulled all of our critical events for the past 6 months, which is how far back we can look. Categorized them by truck number, and then got with leasing, got a sequel, and I ran the actual make and year of every truck and put together some data just to see if we had any, upticks in a certain model or year of a truck where we're seeing more roll stability events specifically, that may be caused by that. And, looking at the percentages, we didn't find anything as far as, the number of trucks in a certain make and year compared to the number of roll stability events. They were pretty even across the board over the past 3 or 4 years. So to that answer with that data, I would say that we haven't really seen that. If there could be an outlier, yes, but for the most part, we're not seeing that.
And then the other question is hard brakes. Why are those monitored and tracked as much as they are, when most, and I'm just speaking for myself here, but anytime I've gotten one, it's been from avoiding something.
Well, hard brakes can come about too with stoplights, not picking up on stoplights, things like that. And we can zero in on that. And you got the number one guy standing right next to you, Bill. He looks at so many critical events. Jump in, Bill.
Let me give my thoughts on hard
Yeah.
brake, Chad. For one, the reason we do hard brake is we're looking for habits, right? The whole reason we look at critical events is we're trying to prevent habits from turning into accidents. Something I want you to think about on hard brakes. If you have a history of hard brakes, we have a history of reacting too late to what's going on in front of us, right? So that's what we're looking for. But the other part of hard brakes, as much as we as a company have an obligation to protect you and the motoring public around you, we have as much obligation to every customer we have to protect what's in the box. What's hard brakes cause? Load shifts, right? So if you have a driver that's got a history of hard brakes, it's great that they, was able to defend and not be in an accident. But if that driver's got a history of that, now we've got a driver that's at risk to have load shifts. Those load shifts cause cargo claims. Those cargo claims cost you money. So this is also a way for us to try to prevent that from happening. So you're not giving money away for cargo claims. That answer your question? Okay.
One more question, then we gotta go to our speakers. Go
I
ahead.
ask you a question about critical events. Would you say that sometimes some of them are unavoidable?
Yes, because if you have someone that it's completely unavoidable and you have to hit the hard brakes, please do it. Don't try to prevent a critical event by having an accident. Avoid them. We're looking at habits.
Yeah.
From my point of view, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes, like, I get what you're saying, I'm making a habit, but
We understand that there's times where you might get cut off by a four-wheeler. We completely understand that. But, if Chad here has one hard break over the past 6 months and he calls in and says, man, somebody cut me off. And we look at the graph and we can see that he's not behind anybody. He's not impeding any following distances. And then we see a car go in front of him. That's one thing. And if Trish here has, 7 of them, and every time we can see that, she's not got adequate following distance and she's behind a vehicle, and this been behind a vehicle for 2-3 minutes or however long, and then calls in and says, well, this car cut me off, well, that's not the case. And that's the coaching that we want to provide and say, hey, here's what we're seeing and here's what happened. We need to back off, slow down, and increase our following distance. So, but yes, absolutely that can happen. So, and we understand that. So.
All right, a lot of good information. If you have more questions on this afterwards, us folks in safety will be around here, so just holler at us. But next, I think we need to get to one of our speakers.
Okay.
And, Monday night, we got our instructors banquet coming up, and we depend upon our CDL instructors and trainers very heavily here at Prime, and we're so proud to have so many great ones here. And so got Stan Casterkey coming up here who manages that, and we're going to have Stan talk about the banquet Monday night.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning. My name's Stan Casterkey. I work over in the driver plaza and the driver training area here at Prime. Appreciate y'all being here this morning. So Monday, we have our DAB meeting. Then Monday night, we have our driver development banquet. So we've gone from instructor trainer banquet, we're calling our driver development banquet. This is honoring our individuals who are the top at the top. We're going to honor an instructor of the year, a trainer of the year for each division. And then this year, we actually have a category that is going to be the instructor trainer of the year. So this is an individual who took someone from PST all the way through TNT. We're going to honor that individual this year. Then on Tuesday, we're going to have our DDAC meeting. And DDAC is Driver Development Advisory Council. So we've kind of separated the Driver Advisory Council from DAB. All of the individuals on this Driver Development Council are actually current instructors and trainers. They've been involved in it. So we look to them for advice on best practices, what they see, where they see areas that we can improve. So we got a lot of going on here the next few weeks. And then the next month, we've got the truck driving championships going here in Missouri and Utah. So it's going to be an awesome summer. We're going to get to spend a lot of time having fun with folks. So
No doubt. Then we got our picnic and Labor Day weekend and all that. So there's got a lot of stuff coming up, no doubt. So the weather's getting nicer. So man, you can say maybe 90 tomorrow here. That's,
man, I
that's
can't.
almost boat weather down at the lake. If
Yeah.
I had a boat, I don't have a
I'll
boat.
put
so.
shorts on tomorrow.
Yeah, they're really shorts. We'll be like Rick up in Pittston, no doubt. So, any questions for Stan before we get him off here? Got one back there in the back. Go ahead, Dennis. Thank you. Hold on one second, sir. Dennis is coming. We need to get you on the mic.
How do you nominate the instructor trainer?
Awesome question. Thanks for asking. I was going to say that, so I'm glad you asked. So we're looking at the individuals who did the best. Number on the PSD side, number of PSDs that they took through, number that are still here, so there's a retention factor to that. Number of miles that the individual ran, the pass rate, like first time pass rate, we call it the trifecta. That's on the PSD side. On the TNT side, we also look at number of people, the retention rate on how many have been here, number of trainees that they had. So that's kind of the criteria on that. Appreciate you. Do you instructor train? Oh, well,
All right.
hey, welcome to Prime, man. Yeah, welcome to the family.
Welcome,
Thank
man.
you.
Give him a round of applause. That's awesome. Getting ready to take off on his first load, Stan.
Yeah,
So that's good.
awesome. In about 6 months, we need to have you involved in training, okay? Get with your fleet manager. Appreciate you. And that's for anyone else if you're not involved in training. If you're interested in that, we're really, Brooke Mosley is now going to be involved in helping recruit more instructors and trainers as well. So some of you who maybe have done it in the past, you could be expecting a phone call from Brooke Mosley as well.
With the way freight is and how long it takes from picking up a load and dropping it off, I've been told by other TNT trainers that because of the time it takes to pick it up and drop it off, it's taken even longer time to get them through the TNT phase. So is there anything that y'all could do to kind of counteract?
Well, we don't want to circumvent training, right? I mean, the more time that you're out there, the better, more exposure that you have on that. So, it's a minimum of 50,000 miles on the refrigerated side on the TNT training. Tanker, because it's a little bit different, they do 35,000, flatbed, same thing. So we don't want to circumvent training by shortening any part of that. We did go from 30,000 to 50,000. But to me, even though our freight market is not as good as it was last year, in the last couple of years, the more time they're out there, the more exposure they have for lifestyle, to acclimate to the trucking industry. So I don't know that we would change anything on that at this point. So, but I appreciate the question.
Yeah, we need them for sure to get that exposure out there on the road, and that's the way to do it. No doubt that separates our company from other companies, because you're going to get the full training here, and you're going to get the full understanding what you're getting into. And hopefully you have those experiences with a trainer. If it's certain situations, weather related, traffic related, whatever it may be, enforcement related too, and you get an inspection, and they can help things go a little bit smoother your first time or two around. Then when you're out there on your own, you'll remember those situations. So,
You know, and before Chad says anything, let me say this too. Glenn Horak, Chad Waldsworth, Thomas Miller, other drivers that we have here who have been doing this for a lot of years, multi-million mile drivers, they will tell you that 50,000 miles, I mean, that's nothing, right? You gotta look at the extended period of time. The more time that you have, the more exposure you have, that trainee has, the much better prepared that they're going to be able to be a safe, successful driver too. So yeah, Chad.
How would you respond to a question? We have a few trainers that shouldn't be out there. How would you respond to 50,000 miles with a bad trainer?
Well, so what categorizes a bad trainer? I mean, so here's what I would say to that. There are some people that shouldn't be training. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes we don't know that until they've started training. You know, we have certain criteria that they have to meet. And if that individual's meeting that criteria, we want to give them that opportunity. Sometimes they prove themselves, but I've found in my life, in my experience, that we're all individual and we all have ways that we're successful. And there may be a trainer that fits one person that doesn't fit another person. We are doing truck inspections. We're being much more diligent on that part of it, to make sure that we're putting a new person into a truck that's acceptable for them. You know, I don't think Prime has a bad trainer. I think there are people who we can help coach up to the next level, and we want to have that opportunity to coach them to that next level. And if that doesn't work, just like with accidents, if that doesn't work, then we have to make a decision on what we're going to do there.
and sometimes they don't train anymore for a while. And that's just what it is. Yeah, that does
Thanks
happen.
for the question, Chad.
So, all right. Stan will be around, like I said. Oh, D, one more question from D. Haven't heard from her in a while, so good to see you, D Silva.
I just wanted to add to the training portion of it. Ladies, we need you to get involved. Every week, I'm so excited when I see women coming through the PSD and TNT trainer certified class. We need you guys. Think about what it was like for you the very first time that you came to Prime, if you trained here. How scary was that for you? You weren't sure if you were going to get a male trainer or a female trainer. And when you got that female trainer, it put your mind at ease. I want to challenge each and every one of you to take at least one student. Just try it once. Take them through PSD and TNT training and help plant the seed to have greater drivers here because you invested in that person.
All right, good information right there, Johnny. Where are we at? About 14% on our females as far as the ladies here, Prime?
Yes, I think the last numbers that I saw, that's roughly where we're at. Not 14%. Dee would know better than I do. And
1,478 women drivers.
1,478.
That's awesome.
That's bigger than a lot of companies out there. So
Dee,
that's awesome.
what's the industry average for female drivers? 6% on average, and we're at 14. So we're double. We need to triple, quadruple.
So if you're
level
listening to
is.
this out there and you're not a Prime associate and you're looking, well, do I want to come to Prime or not? Right there. I mean, we got a lot of great female trainers, and you know, this is what builds us right there is our numbers. So yeah,
Absolutely.
get your applications in and see. Hopefully, we can add you into our family. So
Absolutely.
what do you got next, Johnny?
We're going to bring up Donna. Donna's with our log department. We haven't heard from logs here in just a little bit, so we'll welcome Donna up here to this stage.
Morning. Okay, so we're going to talk today about the upcoming DOT Blitz. That's going to be on May 16th through the 18th. So we just want to make sure that most importantly, everybody is prepared and that they have what they need and how to get through an inspection successfully. So most importantly, you know, when you're at an inspection, put yourself on duty, change your status, okay? So once you get stopped, change your status to on duty, and then get all the materials or documents that you need out in front of you. And that's going to be not just your permit book, but of course your paper log book. Now, all these documents, paper log book and your permit book should be within arm's reach. And that's because you have to ensure that you keep your seatbelt on at all times through the inspection. Now, in order to get through the inspection, for the hours of service, you do just need your paper log book because there is an instruction sheet in the back that will walk you through where to go in the Qualcomm and how to get all the information for that officer. So being able to provide the instruction sheet is going to be number one. Being prepared to send your electronic duty statuses and pull up your logs for review. And again, that's all in the back of the paper logbook on your instruction sheet. So at the bottom, you just follow along. Making sure your logs are in order. So make sure that you are certifying your logs each and every single day, because each day they are not certified, you can get a violation or a ticket. Vehicle inspections. These are conducted daily. Make sure you have them notated on duty each and every single day, post and pre-trip. Showing on duty for all your other work activities, such as fueling and work at the customers, meaning checking in, tarping, strapping, doors, locks, things like that. Sleeper berth and off duty. That's a big one that we see violations for as well. Making sure you're choosing or selecting the correct status when you are resting. Sleeper berth is only logged when you are actually in bed, meaning the back bunk behind the front seat. Off duty is going to represent everything else you do that is non-work related, such as taking care of yourself and personal needs, tasks, downtime, shopping, walking, running, going to the gym. Making sure the use of personal conveyance meets the regulations, okay? Guidelines are sent to the truck each time you select PC. So every time you select PC, you are given a notification. Please read it. It will give you the specifics on when you can use it and when you can't. And of course, if you're not sure of use, contact us in the log department. We can help ensure you're making a legal movement at all times. You can also go to the Prime app to obtain all this important information, such as your instruction sheet, by going to hours of service and going to either documents or scrolling from hours of service at the bottom. You can find your instruction sheet, the IVG user manual, and there's also a parameters of PC document located there as well. Now, the last item you will need to know where it is located is going to be that IVG user manual. That is actually an application on the second page of your Qualcomm unit. So if you scroll to page 2 of the unit, there's a bottom right icon that says user manual. When you click on that, that's where you're going to find that ELD user manual, okay, in the Qualcomm unit. But those are all the items that you will have to pull up for the DOT officer. Now, other items you need to make sure of: yard movement. Yard movement is not to be used where anywhere there is public access, meaning streets, highways, rest areas, truck stops, shopping centers. It is only to be used in private sectors, such as your customers or any one of the Prime terminals. It is an on-duty, non-driving status. Updating a load tab. This is where we see violations occur as well. When you get a load, it is automatic, but you want to make sure the load you received has all the correct information. Make sure as you're going through that load, any updates are made manually, such as to the end date, the load, the trailer numbers, if there's any changes there. And then once you complete the load, make sure all the information is correct as well. Annotating your logs. This is a big one. Make sure you're making your annotations. Specifically, personal conveyance. If you may not have seen, we did get a lot of calls on this, that once you select personal conveyance and you highlight that dot, that states that you're going to select that status. The remark boxes no longer have that personal conveyance comment. They got it the first time. So the remark box is just to tell them why you're using it. You can either select one of the predetermined or pre-written comments from the dropdown, or you can click on the boxes and type in your own personal, more specific comment to your use. But annotations are important, as well as for any occurrences that may cause you to go into violation. So sometimes we see that you're stuck in traffic. Maybe your clock is going out, or they shut the highway down, okay? Those should all be annotated in your logs. the occurrence will cause your delay or to cause you to go into violation. If you do not know where to put the notations or what to put in, you contact us in the log department and we can definitely help and assist you in making sure that your legal documents are up to date and have all the information needed. Notifying logs with any Omnitracs or Qualcomm issues. We are your first phone call, okay, for any issues regarding the Qualcomm units. We can contact Omnitracs. We know how to correct a lot of the issues or help address them, but you have to call us first as soon as you get any kind of alerts or you see it yourself that there's an issue present. Units must be repaired within 8 days, which means that if we do set you up on a paper log, you can only be on that paper log for an 8-day span. Once you get into service, you will have to scan in those paper logs through the Prime app by going to hours of service and then paper logs. Once we get those documents, the paper logs are what we use in order to update or recreate your e-logs in the computer. If you have any other questions regarding the logs or the inspections, DOT Blitz upcoming, make sure you contact your log advisor, and that is going to be on the Prime app under My Contacts. That's where you find your team. So you see your fleet manager, your road assist, your pay clerk, and of course your log advisor. Okay, we are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just give us a call to make sure that you have all the correct answers and any assistance that you need. Okay.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for log department? Man, we're about out of questions, aren't you, Chad?
I'm still in my TNT phase, and I don't want to get in trouble for asking this, but why does that Qualcomm shut down so much?
That's a great question. So it is, we have obviously spoken to Omnitracs about this. The Qualcomms can honestly reboot 2 or 3 times a day. They have stated that it's like an update or a little reset of the unit. 2 to 3 times a day can be a healthy unit. Also, if the unit is having trouble getting connection, they can go through a reboot to try to get the connection back, like a reset. And then, you know, it's really just probably areas. We see a lot of times through certain spots like Tennessee, higher elevations, Illinois, that the Qualcomms may lock up or freeze up and go through those resets.
All right, thank you. All right. So Donna's going to stick around if anybody has any questions, but we're going to move on to our next speaker. So Donna, I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
You know, all of you that are here on the terminal, if you haven't met your log advisor, never stop by. They sit right behind driver lineup. So you're going to be over there anyway before you leave the yard. So please stop by, introduce yourself, put a face with the name, and a great way to get an introduction over there. So.
No doubt. And ask them for advice, you know, how to, get through a inspection and stuff. What's the best thing to do? And they'll go over all that with you. Make sure you have that spare logbook. Make sure you got that instruction card. Make sure you're ready at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to.
All right.
You got John.
So we're going
to. Hey, just a shameless plug. They have a law class every day, a comprehensive law class, 1:30 every day in the plaza.
Good deal. And you got one too up there too, don't you, Rick?
We do. We have one every day at 14:30. It's the same law class. It comes from Springfield, but they have a lot of really good information. Not a bad idea to join in when you can.
Yeah, just sit in on that, and that's good information. Number one, if you're a veteran here, just to remember and remind yourself and what we're looking for and what. More importantly, what enforcement's looking for, and that's what we want to stay within their guidelines. So
absolutely, that's one of those classes that if you're in here, take it. It's good to take once or twice a year if you're already here, and that's going to kind of lead me into the next speaker here. So if you're a lease or owner operator out there, another great class that we encourage everybody to take, once a year. Again, you'll learn something new every time that you're in there. Is the ACE 2 class. And we're going to bring up Brian Jackson. He's a fleet manager on the refrigerated side who is an ACE 2 instructor. And Brian's going to tell us a little bit more about the class.
Good morning, everyone. One thing I will add to the instructor and training part that you just heard is this class is actually required to be an instructor or trainer. We want you to take this class a little while before. Thank you. Sorry about that. We want you to take this class a little while before, preferably about a month or two, you come in for instructor or training class. It's going to give you the tools you need to tighten your business up before you add that trainer or student to the truck. So I will talk about just in general the class, because there is so much information. This class is offered 3 days a week here in Springfield, once every alternating week at Pittston and Salt Lake. It's about a 9-hour class with an hour lunch in there. We do pay you $100 for taking this class just to come in and sit through it. It goes over quite a few aspects of your business. The main ones that it goes over are the ones that you can actually manage to make your bottom line more appealing, make more of that money that you're seeing in your business go to your pocket rather than going out the door in variable expenses. Probably the 3 main things here that we'll talk about in this class are making yourself available. That right there is probably the biggest influence on your business that you have right now in this market. Preparing yourself for home time, plan home time intentionally. Set up an e-fund. If you guys don't know anything about the e-fund, you guys can actually manage the e-fund on your mobile app. You can always call and talk to your fleet manager or your payroll assistant or payroll person. They can help you get an e-fund set up. It is really important to have that e-fund set up, because when you guys take home time, rather than going home for a week, 2 weeks, whatever you guys are going home for, coming back out in the negative, if you have that e-fund set up and you're able to pay those fixed costs ahead of time, you will actually be able to come back out of the house and go right back to making money rather than having to dig yourself out of a negative balance, which is super important to your business. The other portions of it, probably the main one, are variable costs, specifically fuel. I know Sam Messick gets up here and talks about using that fuel optimizer a lot. You know, that is the buying power that you have through Prime. That fuel optimizer is there to give you the most powerful buying power when it comes to fuel, which is your biggest variable cost that you have on your business. The other portion of that is making sure that you are driving your truck in a manner that is getting you the most value out of the fuel that you're buying. An example I'll give. So I actually have a driver on my fleet. She has a 2021 Peterbilt. Her net fuel cost per mile right now is about 4 cents per mile, which is extremely good. That is beating the fleet average by far. Okay. She's taken the ACE2 class. She took it the last time back in actually, I think February of this year. She drives her truck 50 to 54 miles an hour everywhere she goes. She's getting about 9.8 miles to the gallon on her Peterbilt. That's amazing. You know, and it's all in just the way that she drives her truck. Kind of on the flip side of that, I have a newer driver that hasn't taken the class. That net fuel cost is about 28 cents a mile, which is way above the average, right? So he drives his truck against the governor everywhere he goes, doesn't really manage his RPMs. We want you guys to keep your RPMs below about 1,100 RPMs. Anything above that, you're just wasting fuel. That's the power of driving your truck correctly also, and giving yourself the most value out of that buying power that you're also getting with the fuel optimizer. So the third and probably the final point of this class, tracking your money, tracking your spending, tracking the money you have coming in, budgeting, managing your personal spending. We cover that pretty thoroughly in the class as well.
So talk a little bit more about, you know, managing your personal finances, what you can control right now, you know, while the freight market isn't just booming like it maybe has been the last 3 years, and how much of an impact are we looking at, you know, on those 2 differences of fuel costs? And you don't have to give me exact numbers, but I mean, essentially the driver with 4 cent a mile fuel or 4 cent per mile fuel cost is giving herself a huge raise over the driver with 28 cents per mile, correct?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Like if you're, you know, right now in today's market, you know, if you're just a solo, I'm going to use that as an example, and you're averaging about 2,400 miles a week. Think about the additional 20 cents per mile on 23 or 2,400 miles that other driver is paying out of his pocket compared to the one that has 4 cents a mile. Like I don't have a calculator on me, but you know, 2,300 miles at 20 cents a mile, that's additional compared to what that other driver is paying that's driving her truck correctly. I mean, that's a pretty substantial figure right there. Trish says $460. So that driver that has not attended ACE2 would be paying an additional $460 per week out of his pocket on fuel, when if you drive your truck correctly, and when I say correctly, in the parameters that it can be to optimize that fuel, and you're using that fuel optimizer, you can add an additional $460 a week to your pocket.
Absolutely. And for all of you, well, not just the new lease operators, but the veteran lease operators as well, do a $400 a week pay increase over the course of a 3-year lease and see what that number is. I mean, that's a huge number. And I think that everybody, focuses on, the quick fix, the right now, this load pays 500. I want a load that pays 800. But look at the big picture out there, and we're not going to make it all in one day. So anything like this you can do is a huge benefit. And one thing, and I'm going to kind of just add this in. I used to teach the ACE2 class as well, but one thing that I always challenged everyone to do that took the class was, for 1 week, write down anything that you spent money on. If you go in and you buy a drink at a truck stop, an energy drink or a soda or whatever, write down all your expenses, and at the end of the week, see where your money's going.
Absolutely.
And I started doing that, and I was probably the worst person here at Prime. I didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to do that. It's pretty eye-opening. So
one last thing I would add, for everybody that's taken this class at least once, I've taken the class personally. Before I started teaching, I took this class probably 2 or 3 times, thought I had a good grasp on it. Really, until I started learning to teach this class, I didn't realize how much of it I was missing. So I would encourage you, if you haven't taken it more than a couple of times, take it as many times as you can. I know Jamie over here, one question came online that how many times can you guys take it per year? You can take it as many times as you want to take it. The deferred truck payment that comes along with that is only 1 time per year. So, but you can take this class as many times as you wish to take it. And I encourage you guys to do it because it's well worth it. It really is.
Outstanding. So we're running a little bit tight on time here. So we're going to ask Brian to stick around over here. If you have any questions, or Pittston or Salt Lake City, if you have any questions, get those over here to us so we can get them answered. But Brian, thank you very much.
Good job, Brian.
All right, who do we have next?
I think we got, last week we had Todd Davis in reefer sales, and this week we got from our tanker department, Doug Adams. Great to have Doug come on up here. So,
do we have any tanker folks out here?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, there we go.
Couple. Welcome. Don't see many of you guys around this area, so good to have you here. My name's Doug Adams. I work in tanker sales, and again, these guys ran me a little bit short, so that's probably a good thing. Just to give you an idea of what's going on in our world, as we all know, freight's been really good to all of us for the last several years. More recently for us in tanker, Good Friday hits, Easter, that impacts what we do. Us in our division, we had 3 major shippers and receivers closed for a week to 2 weeks apiece for spring cleaning inventory. So that impacted our freight a little bit. So we've stayed strong. Other than that, since those customers have been back up and running, it's just been a little leaner than what we would like. So we in sales are doing everything we can just to keep it brief, turning over every rock. We're looking for every piece of freight we can get. Okay, so that's what we're doing. What can you guys do, or what you'll see during times like this is going to be longer deadhead miles to get to your next load. There's no value in having a truck sit. They've got wheels, we're going to turn them. Right now, currently, we're heavy in the Northeast. The rest of the country's a little bit soft. So yesterday was a challenge shifting trucks to where we have freight to get you loaded sooner or potentially loaded sooner. So keep those things in mind. Those are things you'll see: longer deadheads, more trailer shuttles. We're going to leverage ourselves in every fashion to try to increase and put more freight in the bucket. So when we're putting clean trailers into customer locations, they have a better chance of getting loaded than if they're sitting at a tank wash or a drop rod. So these customers can look outside and say, hey, I've got clean Prime equipment. Let's put this load on them. So those are the things that you'll see. There's a reason behind it. Communicate with dispatch if you don't understand or have questions. There's almost always a plan. If the plan doesn't look right, there's probably a plan behind that. So just keep in mind, we're really working diligently to put plans together for you guys and, protect you, as far as your settlement goes and things of that nature. One last thing, I dispatched here for many years. Still talk to some of the drivers, some of them weekly, and they're always asking, what can we do? What can we do? And we're obviously in a weekly safety meeting. Safety is our highest calling. We all know that. Behind that, the things I talk about are service and communication. Service is going to get us that next load. If we're failing, that customer is going to try another carrier in hopes that they can provide what they need. So service is important. Are we going to make every load on time? Absolutely not. We know that. When we're not going to do that, the earlier we can communicate so we can let our customers know is good. There's two kinds of conversations. Us letting the customer know that we're running late, 2 hours. And honestly, I don't know that I've ever had a bad conversation when it's handled that way. More importantly, I don't even think I'm asked why we're late. So that's good. But when they're calling me and there's been no communication, that's a real problem. So if you can communicate and we can do that, that's going to keep that relationship strong with these customers. So just want you to understand that. So service and communication. If you're late, please communicate. That's what I'd ask. Again, I'm short on time. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Let's celebrate with our neighbors to the south, maybe with a margarita and a taco tonight.
Sounds good to me, man. We appreciate it, Doug.
Hey, I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Doug. So Doug's going to stick around as well if you have any tanker questions for him, but great points there. Communication, very key right now with our customers. So, we normally bring Steve Wucky and Robert Lowe up to talk. They're out of town this week. So, Dennis Davis, our safety director, is going to close out the meeting. And Dennis wanted us to wrap up our speakers about 30 minutes ago, so he had ample time to talk up here. So Dennis, we apologize. We ran 28 minutes over that, but welcome to the stage.
All right.
I can roll as long as I want to. So that's the beauty
Nobody's
of
here
it.
to stop you.
Good deal. So thank you guys. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm standing in for both Steve Wucky and our CEO and founder, Robert Lowe. They're unable to be with us this morning. So I want to just say welcome. I did see a few new folks that were kind of standing around here. Welcome to you guys. And I'll speak specifically to you folks for just a second. You guys are in an exclusive crowd. It's no secret around here that we're not bringing in a ton of folks. We're not at any of our locations. And that's why you only see a few scattered few that we're bringing around. You folks are the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, the best of the best, the #1 draft picks. So, and we know because of that you have plenty of options on where you could have gone. You could have gone to literally any trucking company in these fine United States to choose your career, but you chose us. And I think you made a fantastic decision, and we appreciate you being here with us. And by no means are we perfect, and we'll never claim to be perfect. And that's one of the reasons that we have this open forum meeting like this, that we want to make sure that we're as transparent as we possibly can. It'd be great to answer and address every single question that folks have, but we just can't do that. We've got a team of folks and peers like Brian Jackson that are here. They're literally paid to answer your questions. They're literally paid to, and forgive me, Brian, to literally be your personal concierge as it pertains to running your business here at Prime. So utilize that resource. Those folks are there to help you. And to our veteran drivers, thank you all so much for being here with us. Welcome home at each of our locations. Hopefully you're not here for too long. Hopefully you're just here for a quick spell, and then we can get you back out on the road ready to go. So a lot of things are happening here at Prime. On Monday, we have our driver advisory board meeting. It's a group of drivers with various experience levels that are going to be meeting and addressing the leadership here at the company with their concerns, both, red flags and blue ribbons, things where we have challenges with and some things that we're doing well. And, they'll always get that information out to you. If you have something that you want addressed on your Prime mobile app, there's a button that says Ask Dab. If you want to get some information over to them, don't hesitate to jump on there. You know, and as I talk about the Prime mobile app, I've got our experts here over on my right. We got Richard and Brianne over here. If you have any technology related questions, don't hesitate to after the meeting to go on and engage with those folks, and they'll get you straight. So as I look over at Richard and Brianne, I see that they're both sporting red. You know, Bill in the back sporting red, I'm sporting red. You know, all our folks around the room are sporting red. We do that here every Friday, RED, remember everyone deployed. So we are a company that we appreciate those that serve. We look to hire and train those that serve because we love that attribute. So if you have served in uniform, defended this country as a part of our armed forces, if you stand at all of our locations for just a second to give us an opportunity to tell you thank you. Thank you guys so much. You know, I stand here as one of the folks in the safety department, but so often I get the opportunity here to represent Prime across the board. And, you know, there were fantastic conversations, you know, and safety is among some other competing priorities. Of course, safety is so important to what we do. You know, there's no more cost saving factor for any company than to not have accidents, whether they're preventable or not. If somebody hits you, the unfortunate part about it is it's still going to cost you some money. You're not picking up and delivering freight, what generates revenue for you and what generates revenue for Prime. So that is so important. But I just want to also speak again of how important, you know, the message that Brian Jackson gave today, especially in today's, you know, freight market, you know, like John did for so many years. I too taught the ACE2 class, and you know, those same things that we talked about back in during that recession of 07, 08, 09, 2010, you know, those conversations are starting to come right on back. You know, I think we may have even got a little bit spoiled here over the last decade or so, but you know, those tried and true methods are coming back. You know, one thing I will say, and I think, you know, without saying it, each speaker kind of alluded to it, you know, believe only half of what you see and some of what you hear. Data is so important. You know, I think there were some questions about the critical events and how it feels. Data is the important part. You know, I'm not saying it's perfect, but by all means, the data behind all of this is there. The data behind 53 years of trucking here at Prime. You know, we're not making this stuff up. We weren't created with smoke and mirrors, as Robert would say. This is information. We've weathered the storm of many different situations exactly like this. We know the recipe. We know the formula to get through, and we just need you to trust the process. And I know I've said that before up here before, but trust that process of coming through. So thank you guys so much for being with us this morning. For those that didn't get our shameless plug, we do this every Friday morning. Click like and subscribe across the socials, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Customers are watching, prospective drivers are watching, current drivers are watching. We appreciate all you do. Appreciate you being with us. God bless you all and be safe.